Hey there, and welcome back to Sparkle and Shine, the podcast that helps keep your home looking clean, fresh, and fabulous. I'm your host, Laila, and today we're tackling one of the most frustrating things about keeping a spotless home: stains. Now, let's be honest, we've all been there. You're enjoying a nice evening with a glass of wine, and suddenly, oops, it takes a tumble right onto your carpet. Or maybe it's morning coffee, and before you've even had a chance to wake up properly, you knock the whole mug over onto your beautiful tile floor. My dad literally did that yesterday. And if you have pets, oh boy, you already know. You turn your back for 2 seconds and they've left a little surprise right in the middle of your rug. Some stains are easy to deal with. A quick wipe, a little scrubbing, and they're gone. But then there are the ones that just won't budge, no matter how much you blot, scrub, or beg the stain to disappear. And let's be real, sometimes the more we try to fix it, the worse it gets. But don't panic, because today we're diving into Stains 101. By the end of this episode, you'll be a stain fighting pro, ready to tackle even the worst messes with confidence. So, what exactly are we diving into today? Well, by the end of this episode, you're going to have a complete game plan for tackling even the toughest stains. Let me break it down for you. First, we'll explore why some stains are harder to remove than others. Believe it or not, there's actually a science behind why certain spills seem to disappear with a quick wipe, while others cling to your floors and fabric like their life depends on it. Understanding what makes a stain stubborn is the first step to getting rid of it for good. Next, we'll settle the age-old debate: DIY versus store-bought stain removers. Are those home remedies with baking soda and vinegar actually as effective as people claim? Or are the store-bought stain removers worth the investment? We'll break down which options work best for different types of stains and which ones are just marketing hype. Then I'll walk you through step-by-step methods for tackling the worst offenders. We're talking red wine on carpet, coffee on tile, grease on laminate, pet messes on hardwood, and more. Each stain requires a different approach, and I'll show you exactly what to do so you don't accidentally make things worse. And finally, we'll talk about when it's time to call in the professionals, because let's be honest, some stains are just beyond DIY. Maybe it's an old set-in stain that's been haunting your carpet for years, or maybe it's something you've tried to remove multiple times with no success. I'll walk you through the signs that it's time to let the experts handle it and how to find the right professional cleaning service for the job. By the end of this episode, you'll be fully prepared to tackle any stain life throws your way. So stick with me, because we're about to dive deep into the world of stain removal. So whether you're listening while cleaning up a fresh stain or just preparing for the inevitable next spill, grab your notepad, or better yet, your stain remover of choice, because we're about to save your floors. All right, before we jump into the how-to, let's take a second to talk about why stains can be so stubborn in the first place. Have you ever noticed that some spills wipe up effortlessly, while others seem to cling to your floors and fabrics for dear life? You scrub, you blot, you try every trick in the book, and yet the stains just won't budge. Well, there's actually a reason for that. Not all stains are created equal, and the secret to getting rid of them for good starts with understanding what kind of stain you're dealing with. Stains fall into a few different categories, and each one requires a different approach. Use the wrong method, and you could actually set the stain deeper or make it even harder to remove. So let's break them down, one by one. First, we have water-based stains. These include coffee, tea, soda, juice, basically anything that's primarily made up of water. Now, you'd think that because they're water-based, they'd be easy to clean, right? Well, not always. A lot of these drinks contain tannins and natural dyes, especially things like coffee, red wine, and tea. And here's the problem. When they hit a porous surface like carpet, grout, or unfinished wood, they soak right in, almost like ink on a sponge. The longer they sit, the deeper they penetrate, making them way harder to lift. The takeaway? If you spill something like coffee or juice, act fast. The sooner you blot, the better your chances of removing it completely. Next, we have oil-based stains, and these are a whole different beast. Think about grease, butter, salad dressing, or even makeup. These stains don't just sit on the surface, they cling to it like they found their forever home. Why? Because oil and water don't mix. If you've ever tried to clean up a greasy mess with just plain water, you already know it does nothing. That's because oil repels water. So if you don't use the right kind of cleaner, you're just spreading the stain around instead of breaking it down. For oil-based stains, you need something that can cut through grease, like dish soap, a degreaser, or even baking soda, to absorb the excess oil before cleaning it. If you go at it with water alone, well, good luck. All right, let's talk about protein-based stains. And fair warning, these are some of the worst offenders when it comes to lingering odors. What falls into this category? Pet urine, milk, blood, sweat, even egg. Who spills egg? These stains are tricky because they bond to fabric and flooring fibers in a way that normal cleaners just can't break down. Now, here's a mistake that a lot of people make. Using hot water on protein-based stains. Just don't do it. Heat cooks the protein, almost like scrambling an egg. And once that happens, that stain is locked in. Instead, what you need is an enzymatic cleaner. These are specifically designed to break down organic material at the molecular level. If you're dealing with pet messes, this is especially important because if any residue is left behind, your pet might return to that same spot over and over and over and over again. I'm totally not speaking from experience, I swear. And finally, we have dye-based stains, which, in my opinion, are some of the hardest stains to remove. These include things like red wine, berries, ink, and even some brightly colored sauces. The reason these stains are so tough, they don't just sit on the surface, they chemically bond to it. Once that happens, even strong cleaners struggle to break them apart. If you've ever spilled red wine on carpet and just watched in horror as it spread like wildfire, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The trick with these stains is to neutralize them before they set. For example, red wine is acidic, so a splash of club soda or a little hydrogen peroxide can help break it down before it becomes permanent. But again, timing is everything. The longer a dye-based stain sits, the more it embeds into the fibers, and at that point, you're looking at a serious challenge. So what's the big takeaway here? Not all stains are the same. If you try to clean an oil stain like a water stain, or use the wrong cleaner on a protein-based mess, you might just make things worse. The other thing to note is that I mentioned red wine twice in two separate categories. Not everything is in a single category. You can have multiple things in multiple different categories, which means that you need a multifaceted stain removal technique. But regardless of what's going on with that stain, the key to successful stain removal is knowing what kind of stain you're dealing with first, then using the right method to lift it. And don't worry, up next, I'm breaking down exactly how to remove each type of stain step by step. So grab your cleaning supplies because we're about to get into the good stuff. All right, so we've talked about why stains can be so stubborn, and now it's time to get into the battle of stain removers. Let me ask you this. When a stain happens, what's your first move? Do you rush to grab a store-bought cleaner? Or are you more of a DIY home remedy kind of person? Because trust me, there is a whole debate about this. Some people swear by natural DIY methods, baking soda, vinegar, a little bit of magic, and a lot of hope. Others won't touch a stain without their trusted bottle of store-bought stain remover loaded with industrial strength cleaning power. But here's the thing. Both methods have their place. The key is knowing when to use which one, because sometimes a DIY mix will work wonders, and other times you really do need something stronger. So let's break it down. Let's start with DIY stain removers because honestly, they're awesome when used the right way. If you're dealing with an everyday spill, something that hasn't had time to set in, or you just want to keep things natural and budget friendly, then DIY can be a great first line of defense. First option, baking soda and vinegar. This is one of the most popular cleaning hacks, and for good reason. Baking soda helps lift dirt and deodorize, while vinegar works to break down residue. It's especially great for light stains on carpet and grout. But, and this is important, don't overdo the vinegar on certain surfaces like hardwood or delicate fabrics. Second option is hydrogen peroxide. This one is fantastic for protein-based stains like blood, sweat, or even some food spills. It works because it breaks down organic material, lifting the stain from the surface. But a word of caution, hydrogen peroxide can bleach certain fabrics and carpets. So always do a quick spot test first. The last thing you want is to remove the stain and the color of your rug along with it. And your third DIY option is dish soap and warm water. Now, if you're dealing with grease, this one's your best friend. Grease stains repel water, remember? But dish soap cuts right through it. Just mix a few drops into warm water, blot the stain, and watch the grease break down. It's gentle, safe for most surfaces, and best of all, you probably already have it in your kitchen. Now, while DIY solutions are great, sometimes they just don't cut it, especially when a stain has been sitting for too long or it's something particularly stubborn. That's where store-bought stain removers can save the day. One such remover is enzymatic cleaners. If you have pets, you need this in your cleaning arsenal. These cleaners are essential for things like pet urine, vomit, or other organic messes. Why? Because they contain enzymes that break down the stain at the molecular level, meaning they don't just mask the mess, they completely eliminate it. And if you have a pet that keeps going back to the same spot, this is a game changer because it removes the lingering scent that tells them, hey, this is my bathroom now. One thing to note with your enzymatic cleaners, though, is always check the ingredients. Sometimes these cleaners will have other products in them that'll lighten the stain, but not necessarily remove it. And some have instructions to completely rinse the area once the product's been applied. And if you don't do those things, you may end up causing more harm than good. So, word to the wise, always check the directions and make sure you follow them to the very last period. Second kind of store-bought stain remover you can try is oxygen-based cleaners like OxyClean. If you're dealing with wine, coffee, or other dye-based stains, an oxygen-based cleaner may be your best bet. It works by lifting the pigments out of the fabric or surface, making it great for clothing, carpets, and even upholstery. And your last option, of course, is professional-grade carpet spot removers. Now, if you have a set-in stain that just won't budge, this is what you go to for that heavy-duty stuff. These cleaners are specifically designed to remove deep stains without damaging carpet fibers. They penetrate the fabric way deeper than DIY methods can. So if you've been scrubbing for weeks and still see a faint outline of that wine spill, this is your solution. That said, it is professional grade, which means that they're probably a little stronger than you're used to dealing with. So be careful and just take your time and make sure you read all the directions. So what's the verdict? DIY is great for everyday spills, fresh stains, and lighter messes, especially if you want to keep things natural and budget-friendly. But when it comes to deep-set stains, pet accidents, or tough dyes, a store-bought cleaner is your best bet. And here's a pro tip. Always have both on hand, because you never know when disaster is going to strike. And the last thing you want to do is to be frantically searching how to get rid of wine out of the carpet while the stain is sinking in. Up next, I'm going to walk you through some step-by-step stain removal methods for some of the most common and the most stubborn spills. So stick around because we're about to get hands-on with stain-fighting techniques. All right, now for the good stuff. We've talked about why stains happen and the best cleaners to use. But now it's time to get hands-on. Let's go through some of the worst stain offenders, the ones that make you stop, stare, and go, "Oh no, please, not my floors." No worries, I've got you covered. I'm going to walk you through step-by-step stain removal methods for the most common and stubborn spills, so you know exactly what to do the next time disaster strikes. And remember, speed is everything when it comes to stains. The faster you act, the better your chances of lifting the mess completely. So if you're listening to this while staring at a fresh spill, take a deep breath, grab your cleaning supplies, and let's get started. Oh boy, we've all been there. You're having a nice evening, maybe entertaining some guests, or just unwinding after a long day, and then, bam! The wine glass tips over, and now your carpet looks like a crime scene. First things first, don't panic. And whatever you do, don't rub it. Rubbing just pushes the wine deeper into the fibers, and trust me, you don't want that. Instead, follow these steps. Step 1, blot immediately with a clean, dry cloth. All right, so we've gone over the best stain removal tricks, the must-have cleaners, and step-by-step guides to tackle even the toughest spills. But let's be real, sometimes no matter what you do, that stain just won't budge. And I know, it's frustrating. You've tried every hack on the internet. You've even listened to this entire episode of this podcast. You've scrubbed, blotted, soaked, repeated. You've gotten a wet vac, a dry vac. You've tried everything. And yet, the stain is still there, mocking you. So, when is it time to wave the white flag and call in the pros? Well, if you're dealing with any of these situations, it might be time to get some expert help. Number 1. Your carpet has multiple deep-set stains that just won't come out. Maybe it's years of coffee spills, pet messes, and mystery stains that have built up over time. Or maybe you moved a piece of furniture and suddenly realized, yikes, your carpet is 2 shades lighter underneath. At a certain point, stains don't just sit on the carpet fibers, they embed themselves deep inside, making them almost impossible to remove without professional-grade equipment. If you feel like you're fighting a losing battle, it's time to call on the experts. Second thing that you could be seeing that says call on the pros. You've tried the DIY methods, but that stain keeps coming back. This one is so frustrating. You clean the stain, it looks good for a day or two, and then it's back. Why is it back? It always comes back. What's happening? Well, sometimes stains seep into carpet padding, or cleaning products leave behind a residue that actually attract more dirt over time. If you keep seeing the same stain resurface, it's a sign that the problem is deeper than what DIY can fix. The third thing you could be seeing is grout between your tile that just looks permanently discolored. So talking about grout, right? You might think your tile floors are in great shape. But if your grout looks dark, dingy, or just won't lighten up no matter how much you scrub, that means the dirt has settled in deep. Grout is super porous, which means it absorbs spills, dirt, and bacteria like a sponge. And over time, regular mopping just won't cut it. As a matter of fact, regular mopping might be causing the problem. A professional deep cleaning can lift out years of grime and even reseal your grout. Let me backtrack. A professional deep cleaning can lift years of grime out of your grout lines. And then if you're using the right professional company, they will apply a sealer to reseal your grout lines so that it'll stay way cleaner, way longer. All right, last one, and this one's a biggie. If you've cleaned and cleaned, but your carpet still smells musty, sour, or like lingering pet accidents, that's a sign of trapped bacteria or moisture deep in the fibers. Odors don't just live on the surface. They embed themselves into the padding underneath, making them impossible to get rid of with surface cleaning alone. A professional deep clean can extract the hidden odors and leave your home smelling fresh again. Now, if you're listening and thinking, yep, I need professional help with this mess, I've got great news. If you're in Los Angeles or the San Fernando Valley, JP Carpet Cleaning Expert Floor Care can save your floors. And guess what? I've got a special deal just for my listeners. Use code JPClean15 for $15 off your next professional cleaning. Because, let's be honest, some stains are just beyond DIY, and that's okay. Let the pros handle it so you can enjoy fresh, clean floors without the stress. All right, we have covered a lot today. We talked about why some stains are harder to remove, the best DIY and store-bought cleaners, and step-by-step methods for getting rid of the worst offenders. From red wine disasters to pet messes and everything in between, you now have the tools and knowledge to tackle even the toughest stains. However, keeping a home clean is more than just stain removal. It's about having a system that keeps everything fresh, organized, and stress-free. Next week, we are diving into the ultimate spring cleaning checklist. In the next episode, we will cover a room-by-room breakdown that will help you clean every space efficiently. Hidden dirt traps that many people forget to clean but can make a huge difference. The best cleaning products and tools for a deep, lasting clean. And how to refresh your floors, furniture, and home surfaces for spring so your space feels brand new. Whether you're a spring cleaning pro or someone who needs a little motivation to get started, this episode will help you reset your space and make it sparkle. Make sure to subscribe so you do not miss it. If today's episode helped you, share it with a friend who could use some stain fighting wisdom. Until next time, keep shining.